Things keep getting crazier for the Toronto Blue Jays, and following Ross Atkins coming out and getting Anthony Santander, new reports and rumors are starting to circulate surrounding the Jays getting Pete Alonso and players like that. But a brand new report has dropped from Ben Nicholson-Smith and Shi Davidi, and it is revealing a crazy tidbit of information that has Jays fans fired up. We're going to break down that report, discuss what it means going forward, as well as discuss some other major free agency updates surrounding the Jays. Things continue to get crazier and crazier each and every day. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys for your continued support. We are on the road to 16,000 subscribers. And if you want to help us towards that goal, this is the place to be, as I'm uploading daily Jays videos for you guys every single day. So make sure to smash that subscribe button. But ladies and gentlemen, the rumor mill continues to go crazy. I had multiple videos for you yesterday kind of covering the rumor mill, discussing what's going on, all these different things. But what's been lost in all of this is a little tidbit of information that dropped from Shi Davidi and Ben Nicholson-Smith. And what's in here is extremely interesting. Let's dive right into it. So this was kind of lost in the shuffle, and it's highlighted for you all here, but it was kind of lost in the shuffle in a couple of the Shi Davidi and Ben Nicholson-Smith articles because they've been posting so many articles that things are getting a little crazy. So as the season progresses, the likes of Addison Berger, Joey Loperfido, Alan Roden, and Jonathan Clase would ideally emerge as viable contributors for a contending team. So the Jays aren't desperate when it comes to outfield help, but they can at least look to be opportunistic. Maybe it's worth calling the Padres about Fernando Tatis Jr. and Dylan Cease just in case. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shi Davidi and Ben Nicholson-Smith dropping, I think this one was Ben Nicholson-Smith, dropping a tidbit of information surrounding Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, whether or not you think this is a good trade, we'll dive into it. We have some mock trades for you as well. But the situation surrounding the Jays keeps getting crazier. And the more you look at, some of the quotes that Ross Atkins came out with yesterday about being opportunistic, being ready to have payroll, acquire more players, and that it requires ownership's, acceptance. The trade market is something that the Jays have always been extremely, active in, whether it be the Teoscar Hernandez trade, whether it be the most recent acquisition of Andres Jimenez. The Jays are always looking for ways to improve their team via trade. And we know the Padres are looking to shed payroll. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jays have a golden opportunity here to go ahead and grab a Fernando Tatis Jr. or even a Dylan Cease. We'll probably have Dylan Cease in another video. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is an extremely interesting player. He is an unbelievable player. He is a superstar, a megastar. And if the Jays can even, if they think they have a remote chance at acquiring Fernando Tatis Jr. to add to this team, they have to go for it. Now, again, is this super realistic? No. But throughout the offseason, there's going to be times where we're not super realistic. This is from a Ben Nicholson-Smith article. He throws it out there, and I want to talk about it because, and again, it doesn't have to be Fernando Tatis Jr., but the sake of not only the Jays making another signing, for example, Pete Alonso, you have tons of other opportunities in specifically the case of, just a lot of trades, whether that be Dylan Cease, whether that be another trade target. So things get very interesting here. You can see this here. The Toronto Blue Jays' main target should be Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's be real here. The Padres aren't contending anytime soon with the Dodgers in the division, so be kind and give them to Toronto. This is from a non-Toronto Blue Jays fan, and this blew up, of course, on Twitter as well. And it starts to beg the question of, do the Jays have enough to land Tatis Jr.? And you can see some of the reaction from the fans. I'd trade everyone, and I mean everyone, in the Jays minor league system to get Fernando Tatis Jr. in Toronto for the next decade. We know the contract he's on. If you're unfamiliar, again, he had his PED suspension. He's coming off of a down year, actually, with an 833 OPS. And, a down year at 833 OPS is crazy. Obviously, it's 2023. He put up a 5.5 WAR, even though he only had a 770 OPS. He's been moving around positions in the outfield and things like that. But the big thing here is that if you have a chance to acquire Fernando Tatis Jr., you go out and do it. Now, this was a trade. This isn't my trade. This was a trade that was on, I believe it was Twitter. And let me know what your thoughts are on this deal. Now, for one, again, this is just a fun talking point, and this kind of goes to show that the Jays have tons of opportunities here to acquire a huge talent. But making sure that you go out and make yourself available to these other teams regarding a trade, whether, again, that be, Fernando Tatis at the higher end of the scale, or even guys like, Dylan Cease is there. You have a bunch of other trade options, and there's been an exhausting amount of trade targets that teams are willing to give up. But I want to go back to this trade. Now, there's a few things to go here. You're giving up a lot. And again, this is the trade evaluator. Take it with a grain of salt, but 442 surplus value. So you're giving up all your prospects. Your number one, Trey Savage is not here, who the number one prospect is, but Jake Bloss, top prospect, Ricky Tiedemann, top prospect, Arjun Namala, top prospect, Aurelvis Martinez, top prospect, who's going to be graduated, Bowden Francis with an incredible year, and it's kind of crazy how good his year was last year to get his value up to the highest in this group. If you tell me, or if you told me, 12 months ago that Bowden Francis was going to end up having higher trade value according to any chart versus Alejandro Kirk or Elvis, Arjun, Ricky, or, of course, Jake Bloss, I thought you'd be out of your mind. But that's where we are now. So you're getting rid of, you're a starting pitcher. You'd assume you'd fill that gap in the free agency. Alejandro Kirk, that's the big stickler for the trade for me. Like, do I do this deal? Probably if Alejandro Kirk's not there. Kirk is their only catcher. They don't have a backup catcher right now unless you want to get Tyler Heineman. You have Tyler Heineman as your starting catcher. It's just not feasible. Everything about this trade, I actually kind of love, aside from Alejandro Kirk. Now, you're giving up all your prospects. Your pool's kind of empty anyway. This would be an all-in move, but you have you have this guy, Fernando Tatis Jr., on an extremely good contract. And the fact that you have him on a contract with, again, he's on a extremely team-friendly contract. You're going to have him for the next decade. So you push that now. You push all your chips into the middle of the table, and now you're sitting here. And not only are you sitting here with a megastar, but you didn't have to give up any of your current guys. You're not giving up Bichette. You're not giving up Vladdy. You're not giving up any of the other key pieces there in your rotation. And that's when the question starts to be answered. Is this the deal you make? And I think it is. But let me know down below. Again, this is things are getting crazy with the Jays. All these reports and rumors following them missing out on all these guys. This would be a move that screams desperation, but at the same time, it does make sense if you are the Jays. And again, it's worth mentioning, or it's worth calling the Padres about Tatis Jr. and Dylan Cease. I think Dylan Cease is a very realistic option. Stay tuned for a video on him in the future. But for now, you have other fan bases saying it would make sense. You have, mock trades being made up. I think it makes a ton of sense there. Maybe you replace Kirk with another prospect. You replace Kirk with some MLB player. I'd be fine throwing, and again, it doesn't have the same value at all, but you have an excess of infielders. Addison Barger, Leo Jimenez. Leo Jimenez is highly touted by some prospect analysts. Like someone like that. And again, in exchange, you're getting Fernando Tatis Jr., who coming off a couple down years as opposed to, pre-PED suspension. Now, whether that's correlated is the big question. Will he still be able to perform following his PEDs? I have no doubt in my mind that he would be a good player nonetheless. Get this deal done if this is what it would take. Now, again, the other side of it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments. The other side of this, when I say get it done, the other side of this is that, hey, you are struggling with your prospect system anyway. Your farm is in the mud. You don't have a lot of prospects. Luckily, you keep your, in theory, top prospect in Arjun Amala. You replenish the pool a little bit at the trade deadline last year with the Yusei Kikuchi trade, with the IKF trade, Charles McAdoo. You got, of course, Joey Laprofito, Will Wagner, who aren't really prospects now. They're graduated. But your prospect pool is looking rough, but you get one of the best players in baseball in return. So it's an interesting conversation point. It's fun to kind of step back here. And again, the fact that Ben Nicholson-Smith mentioned it in the article means that, again, the Padres are selling. They're trying to reduce their payroll. And if the Jays get him, then, or if the Jays, if he's available for trade, the Jays are one of the teams that has to go out and try to get him. But at the same time, you're dealing with a lot of these teams that have elite prospect pools. And I'm not entirely sure that if it got into a bidding war, A, Ross Atkins would be able to win the bid, of course. But B, I don't know if they have enough to get it done, right? That's the biggest thing. And I'm not even sure that Ross would want to get involved in a huge bidding war. That being said, is it fun to talk about? Absolutely. Is it crazy that Ben Nicholson-Smith threw it in his article? Absolutely. These conversations that we're having at this point, hopefully the Jays, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a move done today, whether it be a Pete Alonso or something like that. Like, we're a month and a bit away from, we're less than a month now from the February 18th deadline. You have the Vladdy extension. You have a bunch of different things. There's going to be tons of news coming out. And this is an interesting talking point. So let me know down below, would you do this deal? Would you do something formulated surrounding this deal? It doesn't have to be this exact package. You can leave your own packages down below. I probably wouldn't include Kirk, so it just makes your team worse because you desperately need a catcher. You trade him right now. Danny Jansen's gone. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. And also, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the daily content. I see your guys' support down below. It truly means the world to myself. Going to continue pumping out multiple videos a day for you all. So this is the place to be for daily Jays news. Make sure that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy.